Hey guys, it's John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Welcome to Inspirations for Your Life. I'm so glad you decided to join me here tonight, just a few minutes before 10 o'clock. It is June 13th, and it is 2025, and I'm so glad you decided to join me here. This is the last of the master topic for basically this week, because it is basically actually, we're on show number 24. And it's episode number 7. Do check out, guys, believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. You can do that 24 hours a day. Really hope you'll check that out. If you guys are hungry or thirsty, feel free to go to the kitchen and go grab yourself something amazing. And, then I will start the show. So what are you guys waiting for? Definitely get back to me. I know you're going to love what we're doing. And I think this has been a pretty amazing week, right? And I think what a lot of people don't realize with this topic, which is really a cool topic, is that most people don't understand what this means. And so the master topic of the week is how connection, purpose, and peace transform our world. We're on series 4, and the granular is challenge listeners to reflect on their own journey. Series 4, show 24, episode number 7. So like I said, do check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, of course, inspiring creations. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to welcome everyone that is new to the show. Welcome. If you're coming back, well, welcome back. In a world where we're constantly chasing deadlines, to-do lists, and external validations, we often forget to check in with the most important person. Who's that? Ourselves. What if I told you that true transformation doesn't hustle and start with that, but with reflection? In this powerful episode, I'm going to step into the stillness to rediscover clarity. Whether you're seeking direction, healing, or simply more presence, these practices will help you get grounded and grow. And tune in as I walk now through the habits and the mindsets that will center your purpose and spark the best vision of who you can become. Don't be afraid to become that vision because, ladies and gentlemen, you can definitely become that vision right now. All right? You can become it right now. And I think that'll really blow you away when I share this with you. All right. Number 1 is, when did you last pause to reflect in your life? The pace of life can be relentless, and unless we intentionally slow down, we risk living on autopilot. Taking time to pause is not a weakness, it's wisdom. Reflection is how we audit our soul. Ask yourself, am I reacting to life or responding with pure intention? Even 5 minutes of silence can provide surprising insight. If it's been a while since you've taken that pause, well, consider this your personal invitation to take a pause, and not just today. Take pauses often, at least once a week, maybe once a day. They don't have to be long pauses, but they need to be pauses so that you can appreciate what's going on in your life and how you can transform your life into something that is, I gotta say, quite remarkable. All right, quite remarkable. So that is where I want to go there. And so, as I said, it can be relentless, but if it's been a while, well, consider this your personal invitation to go ahead and pause. Number 2, identify moments that shaped who you are. Think back, ladies and gentlemen, to experiences that left a permanent mark, not just the highlights, but also those hardships. These moments often hold the lessons that define our values, character, from the first job we might have had, a loss, a relationship, a major risk, or even a quiet win. Your story has power more than you believe. Reflecting on these milestones builds both self-awareness and resilience, but I think some people get afraid to do that. All right, I think they get afraid to actually, do that, because by doing that, you're going to find that maybe It's it's about what you can be, not who you are right now, but who you can become. And I think that's a very important thing. Who we are becoming in life, right? Who are we becoming in life? And I know that sounds like something that's really, I want to say, a little bit crazy. But I want to tell you that this is something that's pretty remarkable. It's something that everyone has the ability, has the power to do right now in their lives, right? Literally has the power to do this right in their life. But sometimes they get stuck in the moment. They get stuck where they're going. And I think that can be a problem for some people, right? It can be a problem. So I think it's really important to heed this advice that I'm giving you. And so, you know, you can do this. Let's move on to number 3. Revisit your childhood or early dreams. As children, our dreams were vivid, untamed, and pure. Along the way, life may have quieted them down. But buried beneath our routines may be that original spark, reconnecting with childhood aspirations, and even in small ways, can reignite your passion and point you toward your true north. Your true north is where you live, like where you are putting your value toward, right? We call it your true north, your purpose in life. Number 5, reflect on who you are becoming. See, growth isn't static, folks. Every decision, every habit, every moment is shaping your future self. The question isn't just who am I, it's who am I becoming? This forward facing reflection encourages accountability and inspires you to keep evolving with purpose. Let go of what no longer serves you. We carry so much that we've oftentimes outgrown: outdated beliefs, toxic habits, even relationships that dim our light. Letting go, folks, isn't failure, it's freedom. When you release what holds you back, you make space for new beginnings and better alignment. But I think a lot of people, they don't actually know what that means or what that could mean. So they really put themselves into this world where they're just not able to do anything. I think that's hard for a lot of people, to understand that they have this power. And by having this power, they can truly become the person that they've always wanted to be. And I know that's not an easy thing to do, to get into alignment. Number 7, celebrate your small wins. Progress often comes in whispers, not roars. Waking up early, completing a task, showing kindness, trains your brain to notice growth and fuels confidence. Don't wait for the big moment to celebrate. Honor each step as it occurs. Number 8, journal, ladies and gentlemen, or voice record your current state. Capturing your present thoughts creates clarity. Whether written or spoken, journaling is a mirror that reflects your inner internal world. It's not about perfect grammar or structure. It's about true integrity and honesty. You'll be amazed at the insights that surface when you allow yourself to express freely, and you're not like, oh my gosh, I didn't do this sentence right, I didn't do that sentence right. I think that's a very important thing that many people don't understand, and they don't realize what that is. And I think that can be hard for some people to literally understand that. And so you might wonder why. And it's because you're pursuing a certain way, you're going down a certain way. I think that's very, very important to you understand, what that means in your own life. All right. Let's move on to the next point. Number 9, start with mindful mornings. This is one of my favorites. We talked about this earlier in the week a little bit. How you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. Instead of grabbing your phone, start with intention, a breath, a stretch, a thought of gratitude. These few mindful minutes can ripple through your entire day with focus and the ability of being calm. Number 10, Practice gratitude daily. You've heard me say this before. It's not overrated, folks. It's something that I think everyone in this world needs to understand, that you can do this. It's just you have to focus a little bit. So, this is practice gratitude. Gratitude turns what we have into enough. It's a daily practice that reorients our mindset from scarcity to abundance, even in challenges of times that we don't know what to do. Finding one thing to be grateful for can shift your energy. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? It can actually open up your heart. That's a very amazing thing. When I say it can open up your heart, that's something that you can't make that up. Okay, you just cannot make that up. Does that make sense, everybody? Hopefully, it does. But what does it mean to you? Maybe it means that you're trying to figure something out. Maybe it means that. It could mean that. It doesn't have to, but maybe it means that. I think if we can understand where we're going, then maybe things could be easier, right? So we're going to move on to number 11. Prioritize meaningful interactions. In a hyper-connected world, genuine connection is rare, but it's what we crave most. Make time for real conversations, deep listening, and shared presence. Relationships thrive not on quantity, but quality. And so it's important to understand this. Creating purposeful routines. Routines bring structure, but when infused with meaning, they become rituals. Align your habits with your goals and values. This is how we build a life we don't need to escape from one mindful choice at a time. I think this is hard for a lot of people, but it truly means something. Okay. Um, it's how we build our life because you don't need to escape, as I said, from one mindful choice at a time. We need to realize what's going on. Number 13, incorporate movement and nature. Number 14, engage in evening reflection. Before you sleep, look back on your day. I think that's a very, very important thing that hopefully you can maybe understand. But I realize you might not understand, and I realize that it might not be something that you understand. Um, think about this before you go to sleep. Look back on your day. What did you learn? What moments stood out? This ritual helps you process, let go, and keep with a lighter heart, setting the stage for a better tomorrow. Number 15, limit digital distractions. We scroll so much, right? We forget to live. Unplugging isn't just a detox, it's an act of self respect. Reclaim your time and attention from digital noise and reinvest it into what matters, your core goal, your purpose, your people, your peace. Does that make sense? I think sometimes we don't always get why things are a certain way because we're too unaligned with what we're doing. Number 16, practice self compassion. Be kind to yourself, folks. You're not doing anybody a favor by being nasty to yourself. Self-compassion means embracing your imperfections and understanding that growth is messy. You deserve the same kindness that you give to others. So start sharing that, okay? And this is the part of the show, guys, that I really like. I think it's important for people to understand this. And so what I want to do is realize that I want to share some stories with you. So I want to give you, so basically one personal story or lesson for each point today that I went over. And it's my hope that that's going to solidify things. Hopefully. Does that make sense to you guys? I mean, I hope it does. Because when we start to come to a connection, it does something really amazing. Okay? So I have some stories. Hopefully I'll have time to get through all of them. If I don't, I'm just going to get through what I have time for because I do have a lot of stories. First one, guys, is when did you last pause? The pace of life, guys, can be relentless, and unless we intentionally slow down, we notice that it is a problem, like I said. And you might be saying, John, this doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's really important. Because if you don't know what's important, then you don't understand life, right? I think that's a very, very big thing to really understand. So let me start with the first lesson. First lesson is something I want to talk about. So one morning, I actually found myself staring blankly at my computer, surrounded by unchecked boxes and digital noise. It hit me. I was achieving, but not aligning. And that moment of stillness, forced or not, was the beginning of a new kind of success, inner clarity. This episode is basically my invitation to you to stop doing for a moment and start being. Let go on this powerful reflection journey together, because when you do that, it's important. Does that make sense? Important thing that I want to share with you. When did you last pause to reflect? Used to hustle from task to task without thinking twice until I burned out during a project launched. I remember sitting in my car one evening, engine off, just breathing. That 5-minute pause gave me more clarity than months of planning. Since then, I made space each day just to listen inwardly. And I think that's a very, very important thing. Okay. Really, really important thing. Number two, identify moments that shaped who you are. Does that make sense, everyone? Identify those moments. Because if you can identify those moments, then life can really be very special. Okay. When my mentor had passed away unexpectedly, it shattered my world. But in grief, I discovered a deeper appreciation for legacy and intentionality. His encouragement to build things that matter, Dr. Dwayne Dyer, became my compass. Even when I doubted myself, I realized there were still things I can do. The next thing I want to talk about is revisiting your childhood or early dreams, right? Your early dreams. I think your early dreams are hopefully something that will, I'm hoping it'll inspire you. And that's my hope. And if it inspires you, then maybe you can understand like where you're going. So revisit your childhood or early dreams. At age 10, I used to build pretend radio stations in my room, recording shows with a toy microphone. I lost that playful spirit in adulthood until I started podcasting again. Suddenly, that childhood joy just returned back to me. And that's when I learned that everything I do needs to be about play. Whether it's engineering, whether it's marketing, whether it's video, I creatively play and I get paid to creatively play. It reminded me the clues were always there, but I had to check on it. Does that make sense to everybody? And so you can make this difference, guys. Number 4, evaluate if you're living your values or just your schedule. I once had a calendar full of networking events and meetings, but none of them lit me up. I realized I was living someone else's definition of success. I could half of it out and replaced it with volunteering, reading, and podcasting, and engineering and video production. And my soul finally took a breath. I think that's an important thing. And so let go of what no longer serves you. Okay? These are important things. Okay? Very, very important. Reflect on who you are becoming. Does that make sense to everyone? I'm hoping it does. But then again, I understand it may not. And so you have to think about, what does that mean in your life? Like, what does that mean for you? I think it means a lot. I think it means that you have the ability to grow when you reflect on who you're becoming. A few years ago, I met someone who described me as always rushing. That struck a nerve with me. I started asking myself not just what am I doing, but who am I becoming? Through this, I shifted my actions from reactive to intentional. I let go of what no longer serves me, right? Let go of what no longer serves you. I held on to a business partnership for way too long out of fear. Even though I knew it was aligned, when I finally walked away from this particular deal, it was like shedding armor because I was doing something someone else's way when I was working for a company. The space that opened up brought in better opportunities and lighter energy. Does that make sense? Celebrate your small wins. I once ignored finishing my first script because it wasn't perfect. A friend pointed out, you did it. That's the win. That changed me. Now, every completed workout, heartfelt message, or check task gets its moment, no matter how small. Number 8, journal or voice record your current state. Does that make sense? One night, feeling overwhelmed, I hit record on my phone and just talked 20 minutes later. I had cried, laughed, and finally understood what was bothering me. That raw audio became the most honest conversation I've ever had with myself. Record yourself, and you'll learn quite a bit. Okay? That's important. Number 9, start with mindful mornings. Okay? There was a time when I'd wake up and instantly reach for my phone. One day I left it off and just sat on the balcony sipping tea and breathing. That morning had felt sacred. Now my morning ritual starts with silence, not scrolling, and it changes everything. Number 10, practice gratitude daily. Does that make sense, everyone? During a low point, I remember I committed to writing 3 gratitude a days. One entry read, "I'm grateful for this pen." That was a shift. When you can see blessings in the ordinary, your mindset begins to overflow, not just with thanks, but with possibilities. I think we have to realize that things are really, all right? I think that's a very important thing to understand, that whole concept. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope it does. So number 11, prioritize meaningful interactions. After a networking event, I realized I didn't remember a single real conversation. So I changed how I showed up: slower, more present, more cautious, more curious. A simple question I learned from Dale Carnegie: what can I do to talk in terms of the other person's interest? What lights you up these days? What gets you up out of bed? Led to one of my closest friendships. Create purposeful entities. Brushing my teeth became meditation when I paired it with an intention. Let my words today be kind. A routine I once rushed became sacred. That shift taught me that meaning isn't found after the habit, it's built into it. Incorporate movement into nature. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. I hope that makes sense to everybody. After long work days, I started taking forest walks. At first, it felt really like indulging. Now it feels essential. One day I saw a deer just a few feet away. That still moment reminded me the world is beautiful, but you have to look up to see it. Engage in evening reflection. I used to fall asleep anxious, my mind spinning. Then I started jotting one sentence at night. What did today teach me? Even though today's offered insights, this ritual turned my nights from restless to restorative. Limit digital distractions. I tried a 24-hour phone fast and was stunned by what I noticed. My thoughts, my creativity, even how I reached for distractions. That experiment turned into a weekly tech break. And it's helped me reclaim presence in the noisy world sometimes. So I think it's important that we understand all this stuff and practice self-compassion. Do take care of yourself, ladies and gentlemen. And do check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. Have a great one, everyone.